Kristaps Porzingis expected to miss several games. Several games. What does that mean for the Boston Celtics? How do they get through the playoffs here now? We'll talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Thanks to Blockbuster brand, it's holiday season. Drop Drew in the mix, and 3 from KP. No, we not on the Knicks. Flushing competition like Al on Giannis. Juice and Big Deuce, still Beantown's finest. Banner 18 going up in the rafters. Watch the C's game in locked on after. Karalis on the breakdown. Clutch like a tip from D. White on the breakdown. John on the mic documenting domination. Matter pen a back bay, it's all C's nation. Rain and J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finish. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. Peace.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I got you covered every day, Monday through Friday, with a free, fresh podcast that drops directly to your device. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcast. Watch the show on YouTube, get in the comments section, protect the show's honor against Miami Heat fans who will just say anything. They'll just say whatever in the comments. So get in there and help us out. If you're new to the show, I'm John Karalis. Used to play a long time ago. Now I'm a beat writer covering the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal, fresh off my plane from Miami, here to do a new podcast about Kristaps Porzingis, the injury. He's going to miss several games, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. So let's get into that. First, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. All right, let's get into this Porzingis conversation with Tom Westerholm. Tom, how are you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling good, man. Legs are all intact. I've got,
tendons and such are all in place.
Yeah, I mean, as much as like they can be for a 34-year-old, he's feeling pretty good.
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me about that stuff. It's funny when you get to be my age, when you get to be into the 50s. I might have said this on the podcast before. I've had situations where I've walked into like a Target, walked in fine. Then for some reason, the entire time I'm in there, limping like I just got shot in the ankle. And then by the time I check out, walk to my car, totally fine. Like, I don't get it. So prepare yourself for that future.
Basketball is bad for your health.
I'm telling you, Lord, there's all sorts of little pieces of things floating around in my joints. But whatever. It's not as bad as what the Celtics are dealing with, because Kristaps Porzingis is an actual, good basketball player.
Correct. Yes.
An appropriately aged basketball player. A very important, some might say, basketball player for the Boston Celtics. I'm not really looking at a Game 5 preview, but let's just put it out there for a second.
Yeah.
The Celtics should win this, no matter Porzingis, no Porzingis. Jaime Jaquez is out for the Heat, which hurts them.
It does.
Further. So the Heat won't go down like without a fight. So I hope the Celtics don't do the old Celtics thing of messing around, losing this game, we having to go back to Miami. I would be very, very upset about that. Everybody will be upset. I hope they can do we're the current Celtics, and they can do the John was right about this team and finish this off in 5, and we can chalk up Game 2 to the aberration.
Absolutely.
That it was.
This team has taken care of business all season, all year. They've been the take care of business Celtics. They beat the bad teams. They beat the bad teams by a lot. They just crushed the bad teams. This Heat team should be a bad team. So, should beat them.
Yeah, we should beat them. This should be it. This end the story. Without Kristaps Porzingis, they can try to play some zone, but they shouldn't, because the Celtics have crushed the zone. They try to play a little bit early in like the very first possession, and Boston crushed it.
Yep.
And then Derek White got going against the zone. That didn't work. They've been running zone when Porzingis comes out, and Al Horford's just setting picks all over the place and freeing people up. That doesn't work. So they're going to try it, and the Celtics should just decimate it.
Dude, how insane does it make you feel to watch the Celtics crushing this zone when it's like, yeah, why wasn't this always the case? Why did this zone work in the past? This is how it
should be.
Yeah, in the NBA, especially
this is how it should be.
This is how it should be. Like it's like the dark heat magic that allows them to hit 3-pointers also somehow allows their zones to work, but not not now. It makes me feel sane again.
Yes. It's funny. I was having a conversation before game 4 with Brian Scalabrine. We're talking about processing power in NBA players. And like he was explaining, it's always cool to have like a few minutes like at dinner to sit with Scal and like hear some of the stories, because he talked about like, oh, I was in a game and I was told to defend this way, and Steve Nash did this and that to me and made me look bad, and I stopped doing that, and then it worked. And I was like, okay, so the processing power is really fast. Like, and the crux of why I'm bringing this up to you is the whole point of it was that NBA players, even like guys like Scal, like who are role players, who fill gaps, who aren't superstars, but they carve out these long careers because they have the processing power to recognize, adjust in real time, right? I don't have that. I never had that, And so I have to look at something over and over and over again and be like, this is this. And okay, piece it together. It's like, that's why I keep saying, like, I'm like a high school science teacher and these guys are astrophysicists.
Yes.
Like that's my go-to analogy, right? So
it's a good one.
It's incredible to me that the zone ever flummoxed anybody, because it's like you recognize everything else so quickly. When you see the zone, it's like, oh, I recognize that these guys are playing areas and not necessarily playing us. Here are the things that we should be doing. But it just never worked. Maybe just too much non-shooting in the past, and there's so much shooting now that it makes it impossible.
I think that's a big part of it, because you look at I mean, you want to talk about somebody who, I've watched a lot of basketball, I've played a lot of basketball, but like you, right? It's like I have no business like comparing myself to NBA players, but anytime as a shooter you see a zone, it's just like, oh yeah, please, oh my gosh, I love this. And like you see Sam Hauser out there just floating, and it's like, I feel like I know what Sam Hauser is thinking. It's so rare that I feel like I know what an NBA player is thinking, but it's like with Hauser, I know he's just like, oh yeah, let me. Ooh, look, little pocket over here. I'm open.
Yeah.
Oop, now I'm over here. Yeah. I'm open over here too. I'm open over here. Hey, like it's So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. It's just there's no non-shooters. They don't have any right now.
So even with Porzingis out, the game 5 analysis, like I'm done breaking down Celtics Heat, because there's nothing to break down anymore. Either Miami's going to take 43-pointers and hit 50% of them and give themselves a chance, or they're not, and Boston's going to roll them. And Porzingis or no Porzingis, that is going to be true. They
even if the Celtics don't make 3-pointers, if the Heat don't make 3-pointers, they're gonna win. That's it.
That's right. That's right. Yep. So that is the extent of, how are they going to beat the Heat without Porzingis? By being just better than Miami. Like, forget about all of you. They're just better than Miami. They've proven all season long that they're better than this version of the Heat.
Yep.
Game 2 got everybody to lose their minds. Congratulations to all the Heat fans who are in the mentions here in the comments section. Congratulations, you got your jokes off. That's great. That's great. You're making me drive to the TD Garden and fighting traffic on a Wednesday, the worst possible day. So you get your revenge on me. Like,
you win, fans, really.
You get it. You've won. You've made my life more annoying. And so great. Congratulations. Now the Celtics should end this and be done with it Wednesday night. Now, moving forward, Kristaps Porzingis is likely to be out for a little while. Let's talk about how the different ways the Celtics might make up for that when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by DoorDash. It's Mother's Day. It's May. This is the May 1st show. So Mother's Day is here. I'm giving you all the heads up because It's very easy to forget. We forget Mother's Day a lot. It's May, Celtics, playoffs. We got playoffs all over the place. If it slips your mind again, or even if you just want to do a little something different with a surprise, use DoorDash. Use DoorDash, not only because you can get a great deal, and I'm going to tell you about in a second, you can make mom smile with just a unique gift delivered in a unique way that can surprise her and make her smile no matter what it is, right? If she's got a sweet tooth, if she loves flowers, if she's into tech, if she's into beauty stuff, all of these stores, all of these places to get these gifts for mom are available on DoorDash. So it's not this big thing about you walking up with gifts. It's getting them delivered. She's gonna be, oh, what's that? Who's that at my door? A gift from you, a thoughtful gift, and you can look good and you can save money. $0 delivery fee, reduced service fees on eligible orders from Dash Pass merchants that meet the minimum subtotal. There are other fees that apply. There are terms apply, but you can get your Mother's Day gifts all in one place. You get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order. Right now, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA in order using DoorDash. Use that code LOCKEDONNBA. Terms apply. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book, and they're America's #1 sports book because they give you, the new user, bonus bets, $150 no matter what your first bet does. You just place the bet, win or lose, $150. You can bet on spreads, money lines, player props, all there on FanDuel.com. You got to sign up using FanDuel.com/lockdown. You do that, you create your new account. The app is super safe, very easy to use. You get paid out right away when you win. And there are tools to help you set your limits, set your parameters. You know what your budget is. You know what your disposable income is. If you want to use that on placing a few bets, go for it. Set your limits, set the parameters, use the tools that are available for you. You can gamble responsibly, and you get your $150 in bonus bets, win or lose, at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On Sports Today, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or on the Amazon Fire TV channels app. Ditch the big networks with the fake arguing shows. Get real sports talk, real conversations. And if there is an argument, it's a real argument. But you know you're getting authentic stuff on Locked On Sports Today. This show shows up on there a lot because it's all the big stories, and the Celtics are a big story. 24/7 on YouTube, Amazon Fire TV channels app. It's there. All right, let's get back into the conversation with Tom Westerholm. There are a lot of different ways the Celtics can go here, and it's obviously going to be matchup dependent. We're still waiting for Cleveland and Orlando to figure themselves out. That series could
real close game right now as we're recording this. Yeah.
Yes. So it's like, for once, there's a close game in that series.
Yeah.
But that series can go anyway. If it goes 7, better for Boston, because that just pushes things out just a little bit more. There are obviously a few different options. Luke Cornett, there's Xavier Tillman, and there is the option of Jayson Tatum at the 5. Which option do you think works the best here?
I mean, I think Luke Cornett's been really good all year. I think that's a really good one. Honestly, though, I think this is kind of one of the biggest reasons you go get Tillman, right? Like this is it. Like you knew there was a chance that Kristaps Porzingis, who has historically not been that healthy, you managed his minutes all year and you did a spectacular job of it. Honestly, the rotations to keep everybody healthy and fresh were really impressive. But you always knew that this was possible. And so you go and get a guy like Tillman who can do so many different things. Like you said, so much of it is matchup dependent. So much of it, like, if you get Cleveland, maybe you go bigger because, to counteract the size. Or maybe you want to be more switchable. So much of it is matchup dependent, but I am very curious to see, if Tillman is kind of a big part of the answer here. You like the switching and everything else, and the strength and all that. It's an interesting, different look. It's certainly different than the Porzingis look. But I think I'd be curious to see just kind of the other elements that could unlock.
So I don't think we're going to see Tillman in this Miami, however
Right. I
long
agree with
Miami
that.
goes.
Yeah.
So like that, I think they're still going to go with Horford, and they may just go with the shooting around Tatum at the 5, just to make sure the shooting's on the floor. So when if you threw Tillman in there, or even if you go too much, Luke Cornett or Nehemiah Queta, I don't want to forget him. Although I don't think he's going to get much.
It'd be kind of wild to see Cato in the playoffs. I'm not going to lie.
It would be kind of wild. But hey, you never know.
He's played well this year. He's been good.
So, hey. So you probably want to keep the shooting out there just so the zone doesn't become more effective. And it'd be interesting to see if other teams try to go a little zone. And if the Celtics throw a non-shooter out there, if that's going to be something that bothers them moving forward. I don't know that Cleveland is going to do that. I don't think Orlando is going to do that. But hey, it's the playoffs and there are adjustments, so who knows what they do. I like the Tillman matchup against Orlando, because you're not getting backed down. You need some strength against Banchero. You need some strength down low. You also need the switchability against Orlando. I think Tillman could be a factor in the Orlando series, if that's how it goes. But if you get to Cleveland, I like Tatum at center with shooting, because Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, like those guys are basically Tatum's size. Tatum's as big as those guys.
Yeah.
So, he's how much bigger are they really? I mean, maybe a couple of inches, but they're not.
Yeah.
But like that's.
Yeah.
If you put Tatum on Jared Allen and they go, oh, there's a mismatch, and you're just getting Jared Allen post-ups, then great. Congratulations. The Celtics have won that matchup, because even if Jared Allen scores a few times.
Yeah. I mean, same principle as Bam hitting mid-rangers, where it's like,
That's right. So good job, Jared Allen. You want to average 25 points in the series and be like, ooh, Tatum's having a tough time. No, let Tatum and Jared Allen go one-on-one, and that you've won that matchup defensively, because you're taking it away from Garland and Mitchell and all those other guys. So
my concern with that is just it's obviously they've done a little bit of like Tatum at the 5 here and there, but like my concern with that is just the deviation that is from what they have done all year that has worked so well. You know what I mean? It's like that just feels like a big switch up for the postseason. If that makes sense.
Just I get it. And it's not like I don't think you start that way.
Yeah.
Because you're always starting Horford.
Yeah, right.
It's the what do you do? And I guess I should have specified that at the beginning. You're starting Al Horford in this scenario.
Right.
But you're not playing Horford 42 minutes.
Right. You're trying to keep him where he's been, because that's worked really well. Yeah.
That's right. So what do you do in those other minutes? Because when you take Porzingis out, you shift the backup up, and that's Horford, and then you go from there. Now, you can just try, because I think the Celtics have the luxury of, hey, let's just try with the regular season, what we did during the regular season. Let's just kind of see what it works. Let's see if it works. Let's go with Luke Cornett as the backup, and let's just roll with that and see if we can't just get through based on that. And if Cleveland wants to try to adjust to that, then go for it. If they want to try to say, oh, when Cornett is in, we're going to get funky with, okay, you can try it. But very easily, Joe Mazzulla could dare Cleveland, you adjust to us, and we're not going to do Tatum at the 5. We'll save that in case we need it. But and I think there's value to that. I think, even if the first half doesn't go well, it's such a long game. And even if you lose, let's just say they lose game 1. All right. The Celtics are fully capable of winning on the road. Right. I think we can throw out, now that Porzingis is hurt, I think we can throw out this whole thing of like, oh, they're supposed to do this and they're supposed to do that. Like we're now in figuring something else out mode.
Yeah.
So if they throw Cornet in there and he gets 5 minutes and it's a bad 5 minutes, or it's and however, whatever then fine. If it gives Cleveland confidence and they go off and they have a 40-50% shooting night, okay, then you deal with that. If the Celtics lose at home, hey, the Celtics losing a playoff game at home is nothing that they haven't bounced back from before, unfortunately. So they can go on the road. Like, does anybody fear going into Cleveland? Oh my God, they're gonna have to win in Cleveland. Like, come on. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but like, you can win in Cleveland.
Of course. Yeah.
So I guess before we get into like, or in the middle, we'll pivot in the middle of the all out analysis, it's maybe you just sit there and say, we're going to do what we did. You try to stop the Celtics as we're currently constituted, and let's see if you can do it. And if you can, then we'll adjust.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I mean, and that's the luxury, kind of like you were saying, like that's the luxury you give yourself by, not only being the best team, but like so many different iterations of this team just going gangbusters working, right? Like, because it wasn't just that like, oh, the Celtics had the best like starting lineup or the best Celtics had the best whatever. It's like also like, oh, also their bench at times like just came in and killed everything. Like Luke Cornett has had some phenomenal games this year. Like they, went out and got Xavier Tillman for minutes like this. Like, yeah, you've got the luxury of being able to just try to act normal, right? Just be normal, try to win normally. And then if that doesn't work, yeah, there's a ton of other iterations that have done really good things this year as well. So like, yeah, I mean, it feels very simplistic to have this as kind of analysis, but it's like, yeah, like there's a lot of different ways the Celtics can win. They've won a lot of different ways this year. There's the options abound.
As Joe Mazzulla likes to say, there's no difference between the regular season and the playoffs, which is an interesting kind of
interesting lie to tell, certainly.
Yeah. He has gone great lengths to set a certain expectation. I'll explain that in just a second. We'll come back. Right, we'll explain that and we get into some of the other stuff because he's an interesting dude, man. Today's show is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Now, I do have a competitive side. We've talked about that before. Whenever there's a scoreboard, whenever there's something that I can win or lose, it just gives me a little extra juice. And I know that I can win at Monopoly Go, right? So Monopoly Go is a game that's based on the classic Monopoly. You can team up with friends for time tournaments. You can work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome the prizes are that you unlocked. And there's so much that you can get. Unique stickers you can trade with each friend to complete albums for big prizes. Cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with. Hilarious emojis for taunting friends. What fun! What fun is playing your friends in something if you can't taunt them? And then you can smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games. So you can dig for treasures and you can get new timed events. There are massive multipliers. Somebody tweet me on Twitter said, you didn't tell us how addictive Monopoly Go can be. Literally, it's in my mentions. You can go search it on my Twitter. Yeah, it is addictive. It's fun. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it for free on the Google Play Store or the App Store. Game on. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA. I'll be on there with Jake Madison talking about this night in the NBA. So go check it out. Rotating hosts all week long, but it's a fun conversation every day with all the hosts. So download it wherever you get this podcast. All right, let's get back into this. Joe Mazzulla is like, first of all, he's tried to get everybody's expectations. Each game is something different. It's you win differently every night. So he's kind of like trying to take the pressure off his team, being like, hey, tonight calls for something different. So if the Celtics kind of suck from three, well, that's what the game has dictated. You're not hitting your threes. You got to do something different. So there's that. And he's really pushing there's no difference between the regular season and the playoffs. You just got to do things better. You got to play harder. You got to do this other stuff, which inherently is a difference. But we're not going to play the semantics game with Joe. He just wants it to be like
Joe loves the semantics game. What like
he does love the semantics game. So it is interesting. And so I think the concept of, well, it's no different. So we're just not going to be different until we have to be different. If they have to be different, they have those options, right? You go with Cornette, you go with Tillman. I like Tatum at the 5, depending on how the team's running. Tatum out there with, if you want to sit Horford and you want to just bring Hauser in, and you go with, it's a small lineup, but it's tons of shooting on the floor.
Yeah.
And so, and you open yourself up for a defensive mismatch, but okay, I'm going to put Drew Holiday on Jared Allen, let's say, and just go nuts, right? Go have fun trying to dribble against that.
Yeah.
And, Tatum on Evan Mobley, which is fine.
That's
and
fine.
Everyone else
have, that matchup organically.
Totally.
Even if,
that's going to happen in that series if that's how the series goes. So I feel good about that. I feel good about, I said it on the podcast yesterday. You tell me, feel good about them against Cleveland, even without Porzingis. Same with Orlando. We don't know if it's going to be Indy or Milwaukee. We know that New York and Philly, that series is still going on. So that series is like epic. So it could be anybody. I still have no fear for the Celtics against another team without Porzingis. I think they can get all the way to the NBA Finals the way things are laid out. Maybe Philly, but even that, I still think the Celtics are fine. Not fine, but they can do it.
Yeah. I think they can get there. For sure. I think, I don't know. Like teams like the Magic, I think are that's an interesting one just because they've got a lot of size, a lot of ways to defend. Teams that can kind of defend the Celtics' best players at a high level are disruptive enough that you start to could OG Anunoby throw off Tatum enough to kind of put a real, put a real wrench into things and kind of mess up the machine? Could, I don't know, could Wagner or any of the other kind of bigger dudes on that Orlando team do that? But I mean, generally speaking, we've talked all season about how the Celtics starting lineup is 5 all-star or borderline all-star guys who are all playing together really well. If you replace Porzingis with Horford, you're just replacing a guy who a current borderline all-star with a guy who still kind of plays at an all-star level. He's just kind of old, so you have to sit him some. So it's right. Yeah, you're fine. It was a really and then the guys coming off the bench again, you kind of, even when you bump the rotation a little bit, you're removing one really important piece. There's no question about how important Porzingis is, but all you're doing is elevating a pretty good backup guy into a backup role. So it's not like you're taking some dude, some two-way guy and yanking him into the rotation. You're just taking a good backup and making him do backup stuff. And that's okay too. That's the luxury of this roster. So, I mean, I think some of it, a little bit of it is, matchup dependent. And like I said, I think, if I have a real concern, it's just okay, can this guy mess up Tatum? Can this guy mess up Jaylen? How much does that affect the Celtics as a whole? But in general, this team is clearly talented enough to get to the finals with or without Porzingis. It's just kind of, it's a matter of Missoula's favorite saying of Missoula's favorite kind of concept of just you play each game as it comes in the postseason, and each game is kind of going to be its own thing.
We don't know how long he's going to be out. Woj's report was several days, several games. What does several mean? Is it 5? Is it 10? Is it 15? Right. I mean, several means. I mean, I feel
several
like it's more.
Several sounds like the end of this series and another series. Like, and like that's just speculation, but that's kind of what that
like
sounds
it, right?
like to me. Yeah,
feels like. I mean, there's nothing definitive, right? So they haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't even heard anything about a grade 2, grade 1, grade. So
right, which matters quite a bit with this injury.
Right. But. So it's. I mean, he's out for the Miami series. Like that. That's basically. I say definite without having like the reporting to say like
right.
He's out. Probably the entire next series. Probably, depending, and then it's like reevaluate. You know, it may be like a. I don't know if it's going to be like a week to week thing, but it's probably like in a week we'll check in and be like, how much better is he feeling? And then from there we can say, okay, it's probably another week or 2. And then we'll just check in a week after that and be like, oh yeah, a week and a half. And so the good thing is that if the Celtics can take care of this, and if Cleveland and Orlando do, go to 7 and everybody else is taking their sweet time, it's just more time that the Celtics can just get themselves together, give Porzingis a little bit more breathing room. So, yeah, I'm not. I guess the tone of this podcast, the entire podcast, is not concerned. I'm not like sitting here like, well, now the Celtics are screwed. I think the worst thing this does, it brings the Celtics closer to everyone else's level. I don't think it brings them. I don't even think it brings them at everyone else's level yet.
No.
So, which is a testament to the depth, right? I don't think this is like Homer green goggle thing. It's a testament to Derek White is damn good. Drew Holiday is damn good. Oh, by the way, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown are damn good. And you have Al Horford to step into that role.
That's the thing. Yep.
And it's like, oh, so you're just basically starting the same 4 guys and Al Horford now, which works extraordinarily well. And now you're worried about, now your backup center is normal, right?
Yeah.
Your backup center isn't Al Horford. Your backup center is normal. Yep. And that's, so maybe your bench doesn't perform as well. Or maybe you say, hey, Al, like, get ready for some more playoff minutes. And then maybe that's just the answer.
Also, the thing about having a super deep team is that now, like, you can still mix things around so your bench is still tough, right? Like,
yeah,
like some of those lineups, I don't have the cleaning the glass in front of me, but I bet you if you look at some of those lineups that have like Cornet and Tatum, I bet some of those lineups, the point differential on some of them is probably ridiculous. Like because you're able to do that with Tatum, right? That's one of the things that Tatum's always been really good about is if you stick him with a bunch of bench guys, Tatum plus the bench has always been really nasty. Like some of those lineups can really destroy teams. I can see you looking things up, so I'm trying to.
I know you're trying. I know
navigating around that. How are we doing?
The problem is that I got stuck. I had to log in the middle of it. Tough. I wasn't logged in, so I couldn't. I'm on the on-off stats, and I couldn't. I couldn't get it on time, but I am trying to get to the lineups, and it's just not cooperating. I had it. It's there, and it's just spinning on me. So your point is well taken.
Yeah,
and I have nothing left to add. Wait, I can filter lineups on the court. Jayson Tatum on the court.
I beat you to it. Jayson Tatum plus Luke Cornet is a 99th percentile 2-man lineup. They're outscoring opponents by 15.5 points per 100 possessions. So, like I didn't filter that for like Horford off and Porzingis off, but I mean, kind of the point stands, right? Like those are going to be the kinds of lineups that you can get with Porzingis out of the game, and they're still really, really good. Yeah, if you filter those guys off, it goes down to plus 15.4. So 0.1 points per 100 possessions worse. If you really good, really awesome 99th percentile lineups with those guys playing.
Sounds good to me. We'll see how it goes. there's the matter of a game 5, which the Celtics should win, had better win.
Hopefully they don't look past it the way we just did.
Well, we get to do that.
Yes.
And I'll finish with this. Like, when people criticize me in the comments, like, why are you so arrogant? You think the Celtics in 4 over Miami? Like, don't you understand that? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I get to look past things because I'm not the one that's playing.
Right.
So they're not listening to me. They don't care about me. They're just,
if they are, that is a problem.
That is a problem. And I'm not jinxing anything because jinxes aren't real. So it's just, hey, all right. Well, we'll see. I'll be back here after the Celtics win game 5. Let's just speak it into existence. So, Tom, thank you very much, as always.
Appreciate you, man.
I always appreciate you, the listener, you, the watcher, you, the commenter. Thank you so much for listening to this show, for watching this show, for fighting for the Celtics honor. You can go into the Miami Heat, Locked On Heat comments and have some fun there. Hey, if you want to have some fun, go into the Locked On Lakers comments and celebrate the demise of their team. Go for it. What the hell? Let's just spread the love, spread the schadenfreude. So go do that, but always leave a comment in the Locked On Celtics comment section and spread the word. Tell your friends, tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.